right. So I'm going to call to order the regular Batavia Park District Board of Commissioners meeting for June 20th, 2023 at 7:03. Please call the roll.
Larson.
Here.
Bell.
Here.
Tillman.
Here.
Gray.
Here.
Callahan.
Here. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The items to be added, removed, or changed on the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to remove 9B, Museum Assessment Program Update. Kate Garrett will be at next month's board meeting. And I'd also like to change the approval of license, so 14A, approval of license for Main Street with the City of Batavia, to discussion of license for Main Street. And that should be it.
Okay. Very good. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. So I would entertain a motion to establish the consent agenda as follows. Approval of the meeting minutes of the regular board meeting of May 17, 2023. Approval of the paid expenditures, approval of the expense approval report, approval of the investment summary, approval of the investment statement, approval of purchases, appointment of chamber board representative, and annual treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to remind the board that the appointment of chamber board representative is to, so Sam Bell would like to stay, Commissioner Bell would like to stay on the chamber board as a business owner, and the recommendation was to put me back as the chamber board representative and Josh Wyant as the alternate for the chamber. So that way Sam can keep her voting voice on the chamber board, and then I'd be a non-voting member on the park.
Okay.
Fair enough.
District.
Okay. I have a motion and a second on the floor. No further discussion. Please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Larson.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as established.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Guest matters from the public. Anybody wishing to address the board this evening? Seeing none, we will move on. Matters from the commissioners. Anyone want to make any public statements today? No pressure. None required. I just want to say, I think the joint board meeting that we had with the city council was eye-opening, and I think it was important for both bodies to hear the community and the citizens in terms of their desires. I think sometimes as we sit in these chairs, we get a little maybe ahead of ourselves and kind of infusing our own ideas, concepts, which we're supposed to do, but by and large, we need to be responsive to the community. I want to thank this board for the conversation and discussions with the city council and being united on kind of the direction that we all came to share with them. And I think it's important because I got a lot of emails, I got a lot of people post-meeting thanking us for taking that position. And I'm not saying you take the right position or the wrong position based on what the community feedback is, but I think with all the hard work that we put into it, the extended additional work with Hitchcock in terms of really understanding the recreational benefits, the additional work with the master plan, the additional survey work, I think we actually responded and heard the voice of the community. And so I just want to thank you all for doing that. Anyone else? Excellent. Batavia Parks Foundation.
Hi. My name is Katie O'Brien. I am a first-year member of the Parks Foundation Board. I'm
thank you guys for having me and allowing me to give you the opportunity, or, give you the updates for the Parks Foundation and what we've been up to for May and June. Okay, so our pop-up in the park season kicked off at the Batavia's Farmers Market earlier this month. So be on the lookout for the foundation members. A lot of us, we made tie-dye shirts at this thing, so we kind of look like camp counselors. And we also have 20th anniversary giveaways at the River Rhapsody concerts, and we'll be pouring beer Sunday afternoon as a fundraiser at Windmill City Fest. We had our first ever joint Parks Foundation meeting in the St. Charles Park District. It included St. Charles, Geneva, and Batavia Parks Foundations. It was held on June 6th at Potawatomi Park in St. Charles. It was enlightening to hear from the other park foundations, and it really inspired us on some new projects and to rethink our directions. It was great to hear, or to share our story and learn from each other. We've also agreed to meet again in another 6 months, and Batavia will be hosting next year. The group is interested in the possibility of teaming up to organize future Tri-City events together. We also are organizing Batavia's first ever pickleball tournament. Registration's now open on Eventbrite. The Big Dill. Thank you for laughing. Is coming up on Saturday, August 12th, beginning at 8 a.m. and ending with a social 12 teams of 2 recreational level players for a total of 24 individuals will be playing. They each play 6 games with one team being crowned the Big Deal. Dill. I ruined the joke. All proceeds from the tournament support the work of the foundation, and a special thanks to the Park District for being our host at the Civic Center. Our second pitch-in of the parks this year is scheduled for Saturday, August 5th from 9 a.m. to noon at the Payne Woods Park. So gather up your friends and family and neighbors and meet at the Payne Woods Park on Gillen Water Street on the east side as the foundation partners with this park staff and volunteers to pitch into the park. So bring your work gloves or your old clothes and shoes. The Foundation's 20th anniversary project, construction for the Peace on Earth permanent artwork, is now underway. The metal letter fabrication was awarded to VC Signs and Lighting of Yorkville, Illinois. They've done several signs for local businesses here in Batavia, and we were proud to award the contract to a local sign company. Our project is also in for the permit with the City of Batavia. The Peace on Earth construction team of Pat, Josh, Jim, Britta, Dennis, and Craig are working hard to keep the project on target for September 21st, Peace Day ribbon cutting. And speaking of the Peace Day, Batavia Peace Day, planning is in high gear as we are in the final stages of confirming entertainment. We're proud to have the Rotary Club of Batavia be our presenting sponsor this year, and thank Drendel and Jansen's law firm as a community sponsor, as well as Kiss the Sky, our entertainment sponsor. Special thanks again to the Batavia Park District for your assistance as site host. And new this year is a peaceful yoga and sound healing by Jenny Bergold at 4 p.m., as well as numerous hands-on activity stations adopted by Batavia nonprofits and live entertainment from 5 to 7. So please make sure you have the date of Thursday, September 21st on your calendar with a tentative ribbon cutting at 7 p.m. at the Peace Bridge, followed by a community luminaria lit sing-along. So that wraps it up for me and our May-June update from the Parks Foundation. If you have any questions or comments, feel free.
Yeah, it's great. Got a lot done. I'm gonna, if you go to Payne Woods, I'm gonna say bring your bug spray. One of those parks.
It's not my first mosquito, so I said that.
Great. Well, thanks for coming today. Appreciate it. All right, next item on the agenda is presentations.
All right, Brittany, you're up to bat. Awesome. And I would just ask, Brittany has a lot of information to go over in a precise amount of time, so I would just ask that the board save the questions for the very end, so that way you might be able to answer some of them towards the end of the presentation.
excited to share today some program review. This will be our Q1 update. So this will be from January 1 of this year until almost August, April 10th.
I love technology.
Yeah.
I'm your backup clicker. My clicker's ready.
Yeah.
That's why they still print
Right?
Allison, I'm gonna have you use my clicker.
Is the USB plugged in to the laptop?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay, Allison. If you want to be my clicker, that would be
I've got
awesome.
the clicker ready.
Thank you. First. I was like, oh boy. Using RecTrack data and customer feedback and surveys is how I gauge our program health. So what I mean by program health, I'm looking at our offers and our interests, our satisfaction from our customers, and our participation levels. So I'm going to go over these 3 areas in my presentation today. Perfect. And this graphic right here is some key metrics from all the areas, our total registration, through our household retention. I'm going to go through this with the presentation, but it's another way to look at it. And just a side note, I'm starting most of my data that I'm presenting today from 2019, but every year except this one is the full year's worth of data. For 2023, it's just our first quarter. Thank you. So I'm going to start with life cycle status. So what life cycle status, that's a tongue twister, our rec department works on assessments for our programs. So basically what they do is they take each individual program and go over questions like, does it hit our mission? Is it budget friendly? Are people signing up for it? And all those questions kind of lead into our life cycle stages. So after this assessment is formed and filled out, we get this data. So is our program an intro program? Is it in traction? Is it performing? Or is it end of life? So right here, a lot of our current programs are performing 59%, which is great. And the rec team does take, which I appreciate, that some programs hit the end of life. There are some times where it's past that trend, it's past that time, maybe budget-wise or marketing is taking a lot of time and effort and not hitting our mission statement, so it's hitting that end of life. So we're getting a good balance of intro and gaining traction. So we're looking as a rec department to get that intro and gaining traction a little bit higher to get into our performing programs. Perfect. So this graphic right here is talking about our total registrations. So 2019, it was 14,000, almost 15. And this Q1, it was almost $5,000 people. So we're almost, we're getting back to those 2019 and 20 pre-COVID numbers. And you can go to my next slide, Allison. You'll see all first quarter registrations. So as of right now, through April 10th, we are over our 2022, what we hit for our first quarter, and almost at our 2019. We were like 100 and so off from that, which is great. Perfect. So kind of comparing and contrasting from 2019 to 2022. So there's some programs we don't offer any longer, like our high school sports camps and our childcare. So we maybe lost some of those programs, but we gained a lot of traction in other programs, such as our senior programs. We've had a lot more people sign up for our club, our drop-in programming, and new to this year, which is not from this Q1, we're adding programs like a homecoming dance for adults. We're adding a baby boomer page to our brochure coming out. So the traction with seniors is coming. Camp K, so that's now Camp Sensational, in previous years Camp K. We last year moved it over to the east side to accommodate more participants, and this year we've had more participants than ever. So we're very excited. We even moved over here, as you can see behind you. We have all of our goodies. This week is sports week, so we're going to the Cougars game tomorrow. So that's one of our biggest gains. And special events. Last year we added special events such as Pints by the Pond, and we continue to do so with some new events. We're thinking of adding a wine, kind of Pints by the Pond, this June coming up, and just revamping our special events to be more inclusive and invite everybody to them. And nature, just an added bonus with some of our outdoor programs and our work with Red Oak Nature Center.
After the Fox Valley corridor meeting for the city, Julie came up with a new name for it, since we were looking at the concept with the rock weirs, wine by the weirs.
Perfect. And some areas that haven't come back since pre-COVID is fitness, and that's a nationwide trend, industry trend. We're excited to be still offering Zoom classes, which we get people from all over the world, which sounds crazy, but Kathy's great, and the people will be snowbirds, and they'll be somewhere else, and they'll join us on Zoom. We're excited for our new outdoor fitness at Clark Island when that comes, so we're hoping that will boost up our fitness classes. And that is also why we kind of did our Rec Rewards, our loyalty program, that we first started with our fitness classes in hopes to retain customers, and that's where we're working on gaining those numbers for fitness. Perfect. Talking about customer average for programs, we have been steady throughout, since 2019, as the average of about 3 programs per customer. You can go to the next one, Allison. I kind of highlighted all of these. And like I said, COVID, our average was the same, as was at 3 customers. So keeping that consistent in 2020, and then if you want to go to the next one, Allison, in 2022, we were able to add that by half a program. So we're hoping to continue that with 2023's numbers. Awesome. So this slide is about our registration, household registration. So that is all the households in our database for residents. So as of right now in 2023, in Q1, we were able to get 12% of our household residents back. Go to the next one. Perfect. Customer surveys. So quarterly, we send out surveys to all of our participants. We're asking questions such as, do you like your instructor? Do you like the location? Do you like the time and day of the class? Just getting all that feedback so us in the rec department can make changes, additions, and revamp programs. Perfect. Household retention rates. So this is going over all those households that we were able to get back from last year. So it's, if they did a program with us last year and they're back with us, as of Q1, we're at 46%. I'll go over it a little bit more in my next slide. Perfect. So that top number, that darker one, is our new households. It's the first time they've ever registered for a program with us. So this year, in the Q1, we're already at 229 people. That second box right in the middle is our recovered. So maybe they haven't done something with us in a couple of years, but we got them back. So we're at 135 participants. And then returning customers is back to that number I talked about the last slide, is who did something with us last year and they're back in 2023. That's 1,000. Awesome. So we have very loyal customers. So our returning customers purchase at least twice as much as our other customers. And you can see that throughout 2019 until now. And then this is kind of, I highlighted this a little bit a couple of minutes ago, but my target is to get to that 70% of retention from our households. Perfect. So our retention strategy is kind of like I talked about our fitness program, our Rec Rewards. We're trying to get people back. So we're going to be looking after this summer, after we look at some data, people are signing up for more stuff, expanding that to new programs. I'm excited to work with the new Director of Creative Development and kind of get together, what my goal is basically is to get people who maybe don't know about some of our programs connected to others. So maybe they sign up for our race and they're really interested in athletic programs. Maybe something in their bag is more programs they maybe wouldn't have signed up before. Or maybe at the end of a survey, it's connecting them with an art class that's connected with something else they signed up for. So just ways to be creative and market some of our programs that they might have not signed up for before. Perfect. So kind of what we learned through this Q1 data is loyal customers are steady with participation. We see healthy programming portfolio. So we're offering the right classes. We're getting new classes and people are liking them. And we're going to focus on retention and keeping our loyal customers happy. Okay. Perfect. Any questions for me?
Oh, we're done?
We're done? That's a wrap.
Yeah, I got lots of data.
Great news
Yeah.
travels fast.
Yeah.
So when we talk about retention versus new, and so
Yes.
forth, because of the fact that the pandemic drove our numbers down, can we really talk about retention up against those numbers? And I know it's going to be very difficult. So what I'm saying is I don't know if we want to get too discouraged about not hitting certain numbers because everything's going to be skewed. Even if you went all the way back and compared them to 2019, some of those folks there may have aged out of programs that are, so you can't, I think it's a good goal to try to reach.
Sure.
But I don't know if we can really trust what we're seeing there just because of the fact that previous numbers were skewed. 2022, things went up, but that spike could just be, I'm trying to get out the house. After the pandemic was over. So I like that. I don't know how we're really going to get true numbers there until next year,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Give yourself a realistic, pop back
Right.
time frame, right? Because
Right.
people take a while to come back. I also would like to say that one of the things I'd like to see, because you're only using 2023 Q1 numbers, is some of these comparisons for just Q1 for all of them. You have one slide that has that, but it's hard to see how we're doing against other years
Sure.
when we're using the whole year for some of the other years. Because like you're showing 2.4 for Q1 for like total classes, which is great, because that's only Q1, right? But like, if you use just Q1 of the other years, you could actually, I would see just more of like a year over year, like a retention rate comparison, if you're just using Q1 for all the years.
Sure.
Because otherwise it inflates it to all, you can see that it's doing well, but you'd say, where were we in Q1 of last year, and the year before, and things like that.
And it does stay consistent throughout all of the quarters. We only have our data right now from it, but just this one itself, registrations were,
And that's what I like to see, because it's like, well, how are we doing Q1 compared to Q1 of the other years?
Yeah.
Because then you can see you're on the right track and you have all the other quarters to get to where, maybe 2019 or 18.
Definitely.
In this new world. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like
Looks
20
we're
and
doing well.
21, we could just get rid of those. I mean, they're really,
But it's nice to see.
I know, right? I mean, because the numbers
It's nice to
really.
see the trajectory going up, though.
Yeah.
It
from
is,
those.
it is, but it's
Yeah.
like it's not realistic numbers for the programs that you guys put out.
Yeah.
Because of all the restrictions that were in place, because of even individual fears of what's going on during those times,
Pivot.
it's almost like those 2 years where they're really skewing averages differently than what they should, so.
Well, and people are taking advantage of the free virtual recreation.
Exactly,
We have no idea how many
exactly.
people were doing that.
When you talk about fitness, didn't pop back as bad. I mean, I don't know about you, but I bought a Peloton. You know what I mean? Like everybody,
Sure.
everybody found creative ways, and it's about getting them back into doing some of these other types of programs again. And I think you guys have been being very creative and pivoting very well to adjust and not just status quo it, so.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree, John. I think the only nice thing to see from the 2020 is just that from the customers that went down, we were able to keep them loyal and
Yeah,
signing up for the same
absolutely.
amount. I feel like that is the only,
Just an asterisk, right?
Yeah. I mean, our numbers are looking great this year.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this next year against this year, because now you'll have 2 consistent years that are,
definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
without
Normal.
a bunch of
Yeah,
stuff
agreed.
going on, knock
Yeah.
on wood, that,
Yeah.
but, yeah, this is great.
So I have just one comment. So 2019 had the camps and the childcare in it.
Yes.
I think you have to give yourself a little bit of relief in looking at 2019
Yeah,
and backing out that same data,
for sure.
to give yourself a more realistic trajectory of how far we've come from 2019 to current,
Sure.
right?
Without.
I actually think you're exceeding
Big item.
2019.
I think so too, yeah.
If my interpretation of your numbers as you have them tonight, I think you're exceeding 2019, but I guess I don't want it, because the removal of those 2 was not the Park District's choice per se. So the fact that those went away, you can't continue to compare yourselves to 2019, which included those numbers.
Sure.
So I think you should take the 2019 data, back those out. You can still hold on to them, but back those out, and now you're really comparing true to
Apples to
true.
apples,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Definitely.
Well, and the board did challenge us to add new programming in softball. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
Absolutely, and
great
you stepped
programming.
up to the plate. I mean, it shows in the numbers that,
Yeah, no question.
challenge received.
That's why I think you're actually outperforming.
Thank
Yeah,
you, yeah, I do too, yeah. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you.
awesome.
Softball playoffs started today.
Yeah, it
I'm
did.
getting
Yeah.
updates.
Quick question though, would the board like this annually or
Oh, yeah.
quarterly?
Oh, I like stuff like this quarterly, for sure.
I would like to
That's
see
really
it-
fine. I only have quarter 1's data, so that's why it's,
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Not unlike we do with our social media, just a one-pager.
Yes.
I don't think it
In
needs to be
the-
a presentation, it can just be in your
Sure.
report.
Yeah, we don't-
But maybe there's a quarterly report
I
that
like
just has the
that. Yeah,
highlights.
Absolutely.
perfect, that
Yeah.
sounds great, yeah. I can compare those, yeah.
Yep, and then only because, like Brittany said, we're like retail. We're planning for winter right now with Celebration of Lights and ordering the snowsuits, but yet we're living in
That's
the
cool.
summer. so-
Yeah.
But then in the rearview mirror, we can only report on last winter.
Right.
so-
Would you still want an annual report for remember though.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
an annual report, but then regular updates in the packet.
As quarterly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds good,
That'd
definitely.
help.
Yeah, great.
Awesome.
Great job.
Thank you.
Good job,
Thank
great
you.
job.
All right.
Now we're gonna have to.
Yeah.
So next item on the agenda, that is correspondence. So we had a number of correspondence. We had a thank you letter to Executive Director Ian Mello from the Illinois Association of Park District for attending the 2023 Legislative Conference. Letter of support from Congressman Bill Foster for our park grant application. A letter of support from State Senator Lisa Holmes for our park grant application. A letter of support from City Administrator Laura Newman. A letter of support from Executive Director of Fox Valley Special Rec, Alex Engelhardt, for the park grant. A letter of support from President and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, Margaret, how do you pronounce her last name?
Perot, like Rasper.
Yeah, Perot, for the park grant, and then a letter, or thank you email from Linda Shilke for the use of the Riverwalk and the Peg Box Center for the flag day event. So we'll put those on file and keep our fingers crossed on the park grant.
Council support?
Staff reports.
Yes. Well, I'm keeping Brett busy.
I get to go first tonight?
Technology is under his jurisdiction here, so we're back. All right, little intermission break there for staff. This is my last board meeting with this laptop, pleased to announce. All right, Director of Finance and Technology, Brentstrom.
Yeah, so we are finalizing the audit, so that will be presented at next month's board meeting. Sikich will be here. And
Seems like there were just 2 minutes.
it does. It was only a few months ago. And just positive news to report on the fiber installation at the quarry. It's been excellent for the operations and the day-to-day services down at the quarry, and it's been all positive news and haven't had any issues to report with that.
Have people made comments on that? I mean, because it's got to be lightning fast difference between just registering in and not having the pauses and so forth. Have people actually noticed, or have they just like,
Our
not
staff
paying
love
attention?
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Our admission staff, yeah.
I'm talking about the guests. Have the guests noticed how, like, when they come in, because part of the problem was it would take a while
Right?
to,
Yeah.
scan in your, so they have to see a difference, right?
Yeah, so this year was really an internal focus for admissions and
Okay,
concessions.
okay.
And then we'll have to see about if it's possible for next year for it to be a part of the Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
Because, yeah.
Okay.
So we wanted to test it first internally and then externally for next year. But because when we couldn't get an accurate register on people going through admissions because we can't write down their credit card numbers. So we would have to let people pass through. So that's where.
And that's what I'm talking about, is
Yeah.
that has to have an impact on the customer in that they know the struggles that were there before when they were paying for the registration to go in or buying something, whatever. That has to be different. I would love to see some sort of survey like, hey, did you notice these improvements?
We can definitely add something into our end of the year survey.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sent out,
They did, but.
They just
yeah.
go around.
Yeah, they just go around.
There's a season pass survey we send to our customers.
Yeah, well, I'll add that.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun to see.
Yeah,
Well, there's not a line, like
yeah,
maybe there is.
yeah.
Right. Except for those that have Groupon, maybe, that takes a little while to
Yeah.
enter it all in, but we earned 25,000 last year from Groupon, so we're happy about that.
Yeah.
Talk badly about it.
Oh, yeah.
And lastly, I did want to mention that we were awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting from GFOA. So that's
Congratulations.
Awesome.
definitely a significant accomplishment.
Very cool.
Something that everybody should be proud of.
Great district recognition. All right, thanks, Brent. And on to Director of Facilities and Trades, Josh White.
Well, I can tell you, I'm personally happy with the fiber down there, so we don't have to go down and reset everything every day. So it's been, yeah, great improvement. I wanted to give a quick update on 209 South River Street. Nicor has finally come out and disconnected the gas. We had to go through IDOT, really didn't know what that for that location. So we are waiting for the water disconnect, so we had to go and get IDOT permits for that as well, for the water disconnect, to get it disconnected in the street. So I'm hoping to get those wrapped up here in the next month or so. I did talk to the city, and it's a possibility we can start the demo, knowing that we do have to go back and eventually get that water disconnected in the street. So they may allow us to go up to the curb and disconnect so we can start demo. So I'm going to work on getting that done here in the next week.
We wanted to cover that base with you, just in case you're wondering why is that still standing?
Yeah.
Like why?
Yeah, the IDOT permits have
Infrastructure.
taken a while. So.
Josh has done everything he could within his power.
Great to inspire there, my friend.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Director of Parks, Kim Hansen.
Just wanted to give a quick update on the Jones Meadow Path project that we've been working on for a while. The path was officially paved last week, so super excited about that with all this dry weather. And then they're working on the grading for this week. They should be completed by tomorrow, and then some final seeding that we might wait till actually in the fall to do that. So almost there, but the path is done, so it looks great. So excited about that. And then I wanted to mention a project we were working on. I mentioned before, but we're finally finished. The Millview Park landscape renovation is complete. Just wanted to put that out there because as of today it's completed. It was sat empty since before COVID, and us being able to complete it is a result of you guys approving the increase in our budget line for the contractor. So this is one of many projects hopefully we can do. And Allison will have some pictures of it, so it turned out really good. So really happy about that, so thank you.
And thank you for saying that I'm a conscientious gardener.
I know, I like
Because
that.
my lawn is brown. Thank you.
I was thinking of you. I'm like, I bet he's
I told my
wondering.
husband that too, because he keeps saying, no, your lawn is brown, but it's not bad. I was like, you know, they just told me, I just read it in the packet.
Yeah.
We are
I'm actually
doing the
not a
right.
lazy bum,
I
I'm a
laughed.
conscientious gardener.
We're doing it right.
Yep.
I did take notice of that.
All right, next up, Director of Community Recreation, Brittany Meyer.
Awesome. In lieu of a report today, I have two special guests that I want to have you guys introduce to today. At the Park District, we love having interns, so we're excited this summer that we have two. I will start with Robert Lucky. He just graduated from Illinois State University with his degree in Parks and Recreation Administration. Robert's office is right across from mine at the ERO. He's spending a lot of his time in camp, athletics. Today he put on a kickball tournament for camp. He's into the quarry training, so very excited to have him. Robert, do you want to step up and maybe say something? Yeah, you want to go right up there?
Yeah.
No pressure, you're good.
Brittany warmed up the microphone for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. All right, so I'm Robert Lucky. I just graduated recently from Illinois State University. I kind of just decided to take my career towards Batavia because they had like more diverse on what I was looking for. I was really focused on athletics, but I'm kind of open to a lot of different things. I don't like to feel trapped in one kind of subject, so I kind of felt like Batavia was the right move for me. I'm from Plano, Illinois, which is like 30 minutes away. Kind of a drive, but it's kind of like I'd rather take the chance of 30 minutes to get more options than somewhere close where I don't have as much options. Other than that, I'm liking what I've came to so far, so I appreciate everyone for welcoming me in, and thank you.
Great job.
All the departments are competing to have like him pick their department as their favorite.
My daughter competed in the kickball tournament today. She was very excited about it. She was on Team America.
Oh.
And dressed up in red, white, and blue because of it. They did not win. But Robert, you're excited, so she was looking forward to it, so that was a really great addition.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Robert, spent times at Parks the other day, was lining fields, so yeah, we're lucky to have him.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. second intern is Jalen Haynes. She is helping in the rec department and marketing, so she splits her time between the both of us. She is going to be a senior at the University of Northern Iowa, and I'm going to get this wrong, but communications and media. Is that your major?
Yeah.
And a minor in...
Professional writing.
That's what I thought, yeah. So Jay, if you want to come up and say a little bit about yourself. She's been great helping us with flyers for our 5K events, being on different committees with us, and yeah, helping with the rec and marketing sides.
Yeah, hi, nice to meet you guys. I'm Jalen Haynes, and I've lived in Batavia my whole life. I love it here, so I'm glad to spend the summer here at the Parks Department. I am so excited, and I've been loving it so far. At the University of Northern Iowa, I am our president of our campus activities board, so I love event planning, I love designing, and that's kind of where I found my niche, so I'm so excited to be here, and I've had a lot of fun.
Wherever you have. You might recognize the last name, Haynes.
I do remember that.
Scott Haynes, Switch Streets and Sanitation. And just to put a little cherry on top of the sundae of some of the reports, I've been working closely with staff on the park grant, the ID&R park grant for the Callahan Community Center. And so it's been submitted. We've even turned it in early, waiting for the deadline. So we're excited. We'll find out. We're hoping before 2024. No, we're hoping that actually in the fall that we'll find out when we get the grant. So we're really eager and excited about that. And then also, since Lynn couldn't be here tonight, she just wanted me to let the board know that the Top Workplace Survey is out. All seasonal, part-time, and full-time staff have been, if they're checking their inbox or their email, they can certainly take that survey, and we'll find out before the next park board meeting whether or not we receive the Chicago Tribune Top Workplace.
Jalen's family has a history in the park district. Her older sister was a coach in my program. So,
Really?
yeah, I've known her since she was, she looks way different now.
Can you petition to see if he'll come back as a basketball coach?
All right, Allison, you're up.
All right. A little lights at you might actually. Dirk, I know you missed this. All right. So we're going to start with the great news. It's fresh off the press, as Director Strunk had mentioned, that we have received the Award of Financial Reporting, which is the highest distinguished achievement that a local unit body of government can receive. So we're really excited about that. The press release is going to go out tomorrow, but it's really a reflection, starting at the board level, to the leadership team, and then the staff that worked so hard on dotting the I's and crossing the T's to receive this award. So this is for the 2021 year budget, so it is in the rearview mirror, but again, kudos to Brent for leading the charge on this, because after Shane Johnson had left, Brent inherited that budget, and we really moved it forward to make sure that we were in alignment for this award. So I made mention that we had just found out the last board meeting, but here's the proof is in the pudding, that we received the King County Chronicles Reader's Choice for Best of Fox Summer Fun Park District location at the Hall Quarry Beach. So this is the banner that you'll see down at the quarry if you head down there. So just to kind of toot our horn, as I know that Commissioner Summer wants to say, we just want to make sure everybody knows it, and then they come down there, they can experience it themselves. Also, the Daily Herald, Batavia Park District was Reader's Choice for Best Park District. So again, a huge honor, and so we did a little thank you ad in the Daily Herald. It was on the digital site for the Herald to thank everyone, and we received an official letter that didn't make the correspondence, but made the report. So this is also pretty cool because there's only one park district in the western suburbs that is given this recognition, and then there's one in the northwest and then in the south. So, so the board and staff can be pleased to see this. Switching gears completely, heading outside to the east side community center. I wanted to show the board, if you haven't had a chance to get out there, we have completely seal coated and repainted the parking lot over there. So we are taking care of what we own and we are maintaining better than ever now. We have the asphalt plan in place that was just approved a few months ago. And so this is proof that we want to keep things in top-notch shape. We are also staying outside, looking right now. We have installed 2 bike repair stations. Remember, there are 5 total that we're going to have, and they're located at all the kiosk points. So what we're looking at here in the upper right is the Lodge at Laurelwood location, and then at the bottom left is the Huckleberry Beach trail kiosk.
Just real quick on that, how often are those maintained or like reviewed to make sure that they're still functioning?
So the Batavia Bicycle Commission, they've been doing a good job doing spits of checking those, but Josh?
Yeah, and as part of district staff, we
That's part of
inspect
the-
everything monthly.
Okay.
So it's part of the park inspections.
Just see like that could be something that's easily vandalized or not.
Yep, absolutely.
And actually, you've already had to do some repairs to one.
Yeah, the one on the top left, I believe, is the South Plaza. So, yeah, that one, quite often we have to.
It's the only one I've tried to use that and it didn't work, because, but it was when they first installed, I thought it was such a neat idea.
We've had to do several repairs in that, replace those, so.
Yeah.
And Kim had alluded to it, so it made this report. So prior to what you see here, it was just mulch in the trees. Again, thanks to the board for, we had, again, kind of collectively decided that we're going to be playground replacements this year, but we felt it was really important to do an aesthetic improvement to the area. So, Kim and the crew, since we have contractual services for the mowing of many of our parks, this allows our full-time staff to really take care of our plant beds and do some of those specialized projects.
That's terrific.
So park staff is, they water and do all the fertilizing and things like that? Is that, oh, okay.
Good plan.
Yeah, and they're able now to do edging that we haven't been able to do in a long time.
Hmm?
Yep. And then Windmill City Festival is just around the corner, so we're really geeked up about it. We put a lot of safety measures in place. Again, we're going to be checking all strollers that come through, any bags, purses. So those of you at home watching on BATV, please know that we are going to be checking just for security precautions. We are very carefully watching what's happening in the area, downtown Chicago and in the suburbs. So we want to make sure that we are as safe as possible when it comes to the Windmill City Festival. We have a safety manual that is actually 12 pages long that we give trainings for every volunteer that comes to sign up for a shift. We're teaching them about active shooter drills. We're teaching them about lost parents, because there are no lost children, there are only lost parents, right? So we're teaching them the protocols, and we're giving the walkie-talkies to people that need it, and we're making sure that every possible safety precaution we can take, we're doing it.
I'm looking forward to my Sunday.
Is it going to have the same footprint as last year around the apartment building?
Yep. And then the Flag Day Monument did take up east to the Pike Bond Center, but we are still going as far north as the playground. Yep. And then we'll have one entrance, which is at Houston and Island, and then one exit, which is by actually 2 exits, one by the Depot Museum and where the entrance is at Houston and Island. So, any other one we'll see if has questions? Sunday we are trying a little something different. Brent and I thought maybe it would be great to pilot craft beer as an option for Sunday only, just to see if people are going to partake. So Energy City Brewery is going to donate some beer to the festival. And then we are, kudos to the rec team, we are going to be bringing back the Windmill World 5K. We haven't had that since 2016. So Sunday morning, we're going to bring that back into action. So, but we are realizing that people like to sign up the day of rather than sign up ahead of time because everybody wants to check the weather. So slowly but surely, people are trickling in. But please spread the word if you're interested in running, and you can have an ice cold brew after.
Yes.
If that's your jam. If not, you can have ice cold water.
Yeah, or coffee.
If it's not, why are you running 5K?
Are you being chased?
Awful one, yeah, right?
Drank too much beer before.
That's right.
On a little more somber note, the woman that you see in the upper left-hand corner is Emily White. She was our volunteer softball coach, and she and her husband actually were our assistant softball coaches for our U10 team. And unfortunately, Emily was on her bike leaving the Forest Preserve District on Route 31 when a van did not see her. And she succumbed to her injuries. And Brittany and Nathaniel, we put our heads together with Lynn, and we decided in her memory that we wanted to have a memorial scholarship for softball specifically, and name it after her, in addition to having an all-star game all-star tournament game played for her in the fall. That's something that we can bring back annually that will keep her spirit alive forever.
Very good.
I love that.
Yeah.
And sorry to end on that note, but it's a sweet, somber note. That's why I put the quote up there, the idea is not to live forever, but to create something that will. So we want to honor that. And that is a wrap.
All right, very good, thank you. All right, no old business, so new business. Raj, you're up.
Thank you for inviting me back again. My name is Rahat Bari. I'm with the City of Batavia Engineering. So since we met last time, we had a meeting with IDOT regarding this project. And they told us that because we are going to be using an existing path as a connection, we don't need any extra sidewalk. We can just use this walk and just connect it at the southeast corner of the intersection. You have an exhibit in front of you. It shows that about 10 feet or so and 5 feet wide that we are going to reconstruct to make it ADA compatible, because it's kind of meet ADA now, but it's not totally meeting it now. So just that portion that we'll need to reconstruct, which is existing today. And then on the east end, you can see that how the sidewalk, new sidewalk will come and meet with the existing path, because the path kind of terminates at the east end of the park and doesn't continue anymore. So people from the neighborhood, they should be able to just walk on that sidewalk and come and access your park. Do you have any question about this?
We don't currently have those things go out to the sidewalk today, right? It just is a loop. Right?
It is, no, it does.
Are those
Yeah.
flares there today?
does, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think,
Where do they turn it? Just into the grass?
Right now on the east side.
Oh, all right. I thought.
So it's just connected
okay.
there to the
Got it.
sidewalk?
Yeah, so we went out there about a month ago now. I think it was the understanding of it before that the path was actually gonna have to move, but that's not the case. So I guess it was, the question now is, do we want to keep it asphalt and just have the sidewalks connect where they would naturally right now, or create and do concrete that entire stretch? It will come down into the park for concrete. So it won't be just straight across, like a normal sidewalk would be.
What's the
I guess would be
proposed
the
multi-use
difference.
path on the north? What's that mean?
That's your existing path. That's the existing.
I'm looking at the PR multi-use path.
On the north of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the existing sidewalk. We are calling it a multi-use path, but it is a existing sidewalk that exists out there right now.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah, so that's the question. I think there was somewhere between 5 and 10 left, they thought, on the life cycle of the park district's existing multi-use path. This was an opportunity to use IDOT funds if we needed to refresh it. I don't know about the need.
But they're only going to refresh the north side,
So-
right? Not the entire loop.
So it's IDOT, it will get complicated. Let me just tell you that. If we, so the portion that we are showing that we just need to do 10 feet, if we do that, then all we need from the park district is just a letter saying that park district is okay, letting city use that portion only and rebuild it. But if we say that we want to include reconstruction of your path with this project, that will get us into what we talked about before, that because your park is developed with a fund, the grant, it's just going to kick it into a different gear. And when I say different gear, it's going to be 5 years down the road when the project will happen.
How soon are you looking for it to happen?
So this is now slated for 2026. 2025, actually, 2025 at the latest 2026.
I mean, like I said, it would only be the northern section.
Correct.
Even if we're on a timetable for that path, we still have to replace the entire loop. So what are we really saving by the X number of feet here that would be replaced? And now we have to tie into a concrete versus
Right.
the city tying into, our asphalt, right? So I think in the long run, it's saving us to just do it ourselves rather than have this section done and us trying to do something later on to tie into that.
Yeah, that was kind of our opinion as well.
We came to that conclusion
Okay.
too, after looking at it and talking. Yeah.
So then this evening, if the board is in concurrence, we can approve the sketch. And I guess, Dirk, I look to you to see what we would direct you to do.
Then I'll bring back the license agreement using this concept, this step.
So, given that, do I have a motion?
Can I also say, so there will be two items will be coming towards you. One is that right of way that we talked about, the existing road is technically on park district property, even though it's a prescriptive easement. So there will be a right of way document that I will prepare and present it to you guys, and also the license agreement. So there will be two items to be coming your way.
Well, the license agreement would be for the 10 feet you need for the road, and then whatever this is to hook up to the path. We can put it all in one. There's no prescriptive easement by an equal government unit against another government unit. So that's true of private property like the church, but it's not true city versus park district. But what we can do is give you the license. Nobody's opposed to that. We can't give you an easement, which was the original request. We can grant a license for the 10 feet you need for the road, and then the license would also include the hooking up, and then if you need a temporary construction license for staging or whatever, we can also build that all in. So you get the permission to use it. It's just all going to be in the form of a license to use to expand the road further south into the park. I think that's what you wanted, some more distance.
So the existing roadway, the center line of the roadway, up to the center line is technically owned by the park district right now.
Right, and we're going to give you a license from the center line to your curb.
Okay.
Yeah, for that, for whatever you need there. And then a temporary construction license to build the connection.
Just to be clear, we call it right of way, like you are going to dedicate right of way, that existing roadway where it is. So
We can't do that.
you can do that.
No, that's been the point.
Okay.
Because this entire property is impressed with OSLAD grants, so we're not allowed to convey permanent rights. What we can, and they consider even an easement to be a conveyance of a permanent, even to a municipality for public purposes. This is the difference between IDOT not talking to IDNR. It's not good government, but it's what we're up against with our grant. So the workaround is we give the city a license to put in all the pavement it needs. We're not going to cost you 1 square inch of what you need. The instrument is just different.
Got it.
Okay, so then I would entertain a motion to approve the drawing presented to us tonight, dated
What is this?
It's 10/26/2022.
10/26/2022, prepared by CMT, and then direct council to prepare said license agreements
And bring it back for final.
and bring it back for final board approval.
Yeah, to satisfy IDOT, Kevin and the city are talking to IDOT. We want to make sure they're happy. Kevin and I have talked about the concept. We understand what we're trying to get accomplished. So Kevin's got the pen in the initial instance, and Kevin Dremel, that is city attorney. And once I've got that back from Kevin, we'll bring it to you. And having this exhibit will really help because that describes everything you're getting, from the center line to the proposed curb and gutter is all going to be part of the license we give them to build. So.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion by Tillman,
Second.
second by Gray. Any further discussion? Lindsay, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray. Aye. Larson.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just before we leave the topic, I would say, I mean, I've told Kevin this, if they can get IDOT to convince IDNR to let us dedicate the road, we would do it. But that's two of the governor's agencies talking to each other. And
That's never. Yeah. We'll do that sometime around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda was our first reading, 14B.
Yes. Select policies from the personnel and administrative manuals. Brett, did you
So-
wanna-
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this would, these proposed amendments are to the approval of purchases, board approval, and change order authorization sections of the policies. They're fairly straightforward changes. The first change is to increase the threshold requirement for the written quote requirement from $3,000 where it currently is to $5,000 for staff, and that's just due to the historic inflation that we've experienced in the past couple of years. And then it would also remove the requirement for unbudgeted expenditures exceeding $5,000 to come before the board. So unbudgeted expenditures would be handled in accordance with the approval of purchases policies. And then lastly is the change order authorization, which is currently $10,000 is the executive director's threshold for change order approvals. So the proposed changes would increase the executive director's threshold to $30,000. Under $30,000, the executive director could approve, and if it were to exceed $30,000, it would be required to come before the board. That would be in alignment with our approval of purchases.
That's only change order, it's not,
Just change orders.
okay, because I was
Yeah,
like,
that's because we know when the Park District Code changed from, it used to be 20,000 to go before the park board for approval, and then 25,000, now it's at 30. We never changed the change order to go up with that. And with the Callahan Community Center being built soon, and the OSLIDE grant that we just received for Clark Island, we're going to be spending a lot up there as well. I'm sure the change orders are going to be coming a mile a minute. And instead of halting the project to get board
Right,
approval.
but that's the first one. That's the second. This first one is talking about unbudgeted expenditures above $5,000 no longer need to come to the board.
Less.
Less than.
Less than, yeah, less than. No, it says, and remove the requirement that Board of Commissioners approve unbudgeted expenditures in excess of $5,000.
Correct. So that would bring it in alignment with our approval of purchases policy. So the executive director would have approval up to $30,000. And if it were to exceed $30,000, it would come before the board.
oh, I don't know.
What's the 5,000?
That's what I'm saying. This is written that it looks like it's not connected to me. It looks like it's removing the Board of Commissioners from approving any unbudgeted expenditures above $5,000. That's what it looks like to me.
Correct. It would be
I mean,
handled.
that's like forever, like 100,000.
No,
Doesn't have- I
the
mean,
Venn
but-
diagram would be between 5 and 30.
Okay, can we rewrite what this says then? Because it's confusing to me, that's all I'm saying, is that it doesn't say in excess of $5,000 and under $30,000. In the next couple paragraphs, it talks about,
But it's like a change order.
that's what I'm saying, now we're talking change orders instead of unbudgeted expenditures. So I understand what you're saying, Dirk, it's just that when I read this, I was like, this doesn't look right to me.
The policy still states that the request would be submitted to the individuals listed per the guidelines in the policy.
Yeah, so there's a framework in place that at $30,000, they gotta come to you.
Okay.
All right, that's for any purchase anywhere. Within that framework, there's a little subcircle in the Venn diagram that says, if it's unbudgeted and over 5, it's gotta come to you. This, by removing that requirement in the policy, removes that little circle in the Venn diagram. Still at 30, we all gotta come back to you for every purchase. So budgeted or unbudgeted. And the way most park districts handle this is that unbudgeted things all get gathered up and twice a year, mid-year and end of year, you do whatever budget adjustments you need to make, whether moving funds, moving, money over capital or from capital, whatever it is, you do 2 budget adjustments a year. Because at the end of the day, there's no such thing as an unbudgeted expenditure. You have to make it right in terms of the budget. All this is doing is giving a little more nimble creativity to staff to deal with the world's worst procurement in existence.
I get it, I'm just confused with the
we're
summarization of,
yeah.
like, it's really the summary box that is confusing me.
They don't make sense together. Yeah.
Right, and so I know this is just the first reading, but I'm just wondering if we,
Because the summary box is going to go away at the bottom.
yeah, I mean, I get it, if you look above, it has the thresholds here of what we're actually trying to change, and the summary box does not match what the actual policy
Since
is.
transparency is a value of the park district, what would you like it to say? Because it's the.
I don't know, I'm just.
Well, you got
What you just said, just, put the Venn diagram in, I don't, just that it's still, something that it still requires Board of Commissioners.
Yeah, so we should put in the summary box, all purchases above
Yeah,
$30,000 will still come to the
Over
board.
$29,999.
Right, thank you. Just to make it more clear.
Yeah, that's my mistake, yes,
Yeah.
I would have made it.
Thank you.
But yes. The intention was still to have
No, got it.
board approval, anything above
Did you
30,000.
spend several $100,000 in the law? You did not. So that's what you get, is I come up with this additional phrasing.
You'd be like, but it
You
said
have,
right
you
there,
have
I
real
can do
world
it.
things to show that you've accomplished, I just had words.
And we did run this by Ansel before we.
Oh, I'm sure.
For the board.
I'm sure, yeah.
So,
Maybe not this one.
for Julie and for Sam, so, one of the roles of the board is to approve policy, right? And so, by the time your tenure is up, you will have been through both manuals, policy manual, procedure manuals. And then each time we have a first reading and a second reading of the policy with any proposed changes. And a lot of these are driven for legislative change, or there's been some change in the law to update the policy so that it reflects current. But this is the thing the board does. So when we do first reading, we talk about it, think about it, make any notes, comments, any things that you think is unclear, get that back to Allison, so next month we can do a second reading, hopefully approve the policy. So that's really kind of so.
Yeah, this one's driven not so much by a legislative thing as by the reality of the world of any kind of project now. You get product substitutions all the time.
Things
and
cost
they have
more.
a little bit of a change in them because what was available when I submitted my bid is no longer available. It is the crazy,
No,
it's the
I
craziest
totally,
construction.
He's a
market.
business.
right, I totally understand why we're doing it, I just wanted to be clear
Yeah.
in my head, which.
Someone who was awarded
is
a
dark,
certificate
scary
of
place.
finance should have. Right.
But I do want to, you bring a very good point there. I don't know, even as I sit here, how many budget adjustments we've made. I know we've taken and kind of worked within the budget that we had and kind of reallocated.
Move some stuff around.
But the board, I think, should have at least one, if not two a year, where we just kind of ratify those changes you guys.
Well, those are two different tools. So if you budgeted, let's take the beautiful plantings you did. So if you budgeted $100,000 for a playground replacement, So $200,000 for playground replacement, and then $50,000 for plants. And the playground people told you, not this year, just not gonna be able to make it for you. It's a year and a half out. So you cancel that, you now have $200,000 in your budget, and you increase your plantings to $100,000 by $50,000. That's technically an unbudgeted expenditure based on the budget you passed. And what we've done is, we've said, even though they're all both under parks and under capital, and we've moved one mini line item within the other, that's information given to you. In the budget you adopted, it probably just has an aggregate number. So we don't have to do a formal budget adjustment unless we tag the aggregate number. We've just reported to you, we're moving $50,000 out of playground replacement this year into plants, and what we'll do with the extra $100,000, we may carry it over to next year when we can actually get playground equipment. So we've used that tool effectively here a lot, the little micro movement in between, and as long as we didn't touch the aggregate in parts, we don't have to do the formal hearing and budget adjustment. In the rare instance, I can't remember any really since I've been here since 2001, where we actually tagged the aggregate change. But if we did change the aggregate number for some reason, and that's possible in this construction market with projects, you know, and we had a little bit of relief from COVID, things were not as dire as people thought they would be, but that's the process. If we tag an aggregate in the approved B&A ordinance, then we have to have, you know, probably people look at it mid-year, and then at the end of the year, you do a hearing and you make the adjustment.
And I don't recall we've ever done something like that.
Right, well, because I think we've always worked within the mini
Always work
adjustments.
within the confines.
Yeah.
Right.
There's the adopted budget and the one we give you for more specifics about, oh, what makes up this $500,000 in parks? Well, 200,000 in playgrounds, 50 in plants, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so we will hopefully get some responses or comments back to you and get this approved next month.
Great, thank you.
So next item on the agenda is executive session. Our annual review, or semi-annual review of executive session minutes under 2C21 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Hill and second by Gray to go into executive session. Roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray. Aye. Larson.
Aye.
Bell. Aye. Callahan.
Excellent, thank you. All right, so we are back in open session. We have one item before us before we adjourn. So I would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 296, a resolution regarding the release of closed session minutes and authorizing the destruction of audio or video recordings of certain executive sessions as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Taylor, second by Gray. Lindsay, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray. Aye. Larson.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Taylor, second by Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. We'll see you next month.
Just spot.